Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Bandai Tamashii Nations S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball Z figure unboxing and review. Now today we are taking a look at First Form Cell, aka, as we all know him from the anime, Imperfect Cell. Now, people like Frieza, people like Majin Buu, but for me, I'm a Cell guy, so yeah, I'm pretty darn excited to get this guy out here. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, they've gotten it down to a science at this point. It's suitably classy. We've got Cell First Form printed on the open window, a full color image of Cell, a bunch of black and white shots on the side, then on the back, a bunch more product shots showcasing a rock that unfortunately isn't included. I don't know why, it's an iconic pose. I would have loved to have been able to recreate that, but oh no, the rock, as it says here, is sold separately. Now, they've also tried something a little different with the instructions. This time they're printed on the inside flap. Normally it would be an insert that most people would probably lose or completely ignore, but now that it's on the packaging, when you open it, you'll pretty much see it immediately. Unless, of course, you open the box from the other side, then yeah, you're going to miss it anyway. As for Cell himself, first in-hand impressions are pretty darn positive. What we are going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have a display base, he doesn't have any blast effects, and he doesn't come with the rock either. He does, however, come with a bunch of swap-out pieces, starting off with two different versions of the head crest, but are they actually different? Because I've compared them really closely, and to me, they look identical. They attach in the same way, the shape looks the same, they're painted in the same way in unpainted green plastic with the dots sculpted and painted in, but around the back, one says A and one says B, so quite clearly they're supposed to be different. If you know what the difference is, please let me know down below. You do also get a bunch of different faceplates. They're cast in green plastic, the eyes are painted in pink with the little black slit along the front. You've also got an orange mouth, and the ones with open mouths do have some red on the inside. I guess that's his tongue. You also have a bunch of dots on the side of his face. Overall, the finish is really good. Now, you might be thinking, Justin, what gives? These are the same faceplate. No. The one on the left is looking off to the side ever so slightly, where the one on the right is looking straight forward, and he's smirking just a little. The next two are more drastically different. We've got the mouth closed, just neutral expression, and the eyes wide open, mouth wide open, screaming expression. This one you can pretty much use for anything. He could be doing a Kamehameha, he could be absorbing Android 17, or simply screaming at someone. It's entirely up to you, but I appreciate the option. You do get two different options for his tail. One that's a spike when he's not absorbing anyone. The spike itself, I thought for sure would be rubbery plastic, but it isn't. This is solid plastic. Be careful. It's a little bit more brittle and very prickly. When you're trying to slide this on, you could potentially spike yourself. I have warned you. On the back, it's matte black. Along the front, it's unpainted green plastic, but all of these dots are sculpted and really cleanly painted. Now, as for the other one, it's the Android 17 absorbing plunger. I like the color. I also like the little lines to add some texture. On the inside, there's a bunch more lines and also a little bit of shading. I wasn't expecting to see shading here at all, and for the most part, you can't really see it anyway. It's on the inside of the plunger. What I mean by saying that is, how often are you actually going to tilt the tail up and look on the inside to see the shading? My bet is not very often. If you're using that tail, you're probably going to pose him absorbing Android 17, meaning the shading is on the underside anyway. Now, he does have a full array of hands, as you would expect. they're nicely painted and really well sculpted. I do like the drop down between the darker green and the lighter green. It kind of looks like some armor plating. He does have some detail on his palms, and his nails are really prickly. As you can see, they are very thin pieces of rubbery plastic. When you are sliding these onto the ball joints for the wrist pegs, do be careful not to prick yourself. I speak from experience. What we are going to do now, though, is get Imperfect Cell himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Let's just go around the grounds for just a second, starting off with the proportions. Yeah, that box is checked. He's tall, he's lanky, he looks exactly like the anime or the manga. I also love the sculpt. He's kind of muscular, but he's also got a ton of textural detail. There are lines, there are those dots that are sculpted, they're not just painted. Then, speaking of paint, there's not a ton of it here, but the little of it that is here is well applied, it sticks to the lines. Overall, I'm really happy. As a fan of Cell, maybe I'm biased because I've wanted this form forever, but so far, so good. He ticks a lot of boxes. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the head sculpt first. I know, we've already discussed the faceplates in the accessories segment earlier, but I still want to try all of them on the body just to see which is my favourite. This one, of course, is the neutral expression. I still don't know what the difference is between the various crests, but we'll try the other one on here as well. His eyes are looking forward, but they're really tiny. It almost looks like those little slits for pupils aren't there at all, especially from the front, but no, if you just tilt the head sculpt up, they're definitely there. Now, around the back, he's got this big honkin' orange bulbous dome. You've got some lines sculpted in. It's done in a matte finish. Now, that's kind of what I was expecting for the entire figure, but it does have a little bit of a plastic sheen. It doesn't look terrible, but it is something to be aware of. I just realized I gave you no warning there at all. I'm so sorry. Snap transitions incoming. Here we have the smirking head sculpt. It's my personal favorite. He looks cocky. He looks like, yeah, he's about to cause some serious trouble. If you've seen the anime, this is spot on Imperfect Cell. This is pretty much the same thing, just with his eyes off to the side. I still like the way this looks, but for me, I'm probably just going to stick with the other one. Then, of course, the most expressive of the expressions, the wide open mouth one. Maybe he's blasting someone with a special beam cannon or a kamehameha. Maybe he's screaming at Piccolo, telling him, "Oh no, you just wait, I'm going to be perfect as soon as I find those pesky androids." Now, I still don't know what the difference is between these two top plates. They look identical to me, and yeah, they fit in the same way as well. Around the back, the wings are done in unpainted green plastic, just like the rest of him. The little dots are sculpted in, you can feel the texture, and there's a ton of them. This guy can't have been easy to paint at the factory, but for the most part, they did a really good job. He also has some matte black on the inside of the wings and on the underside of the tail, plus multiple different hinges and joints, so yeah, the tail does have a fairly decent range of motion. The only issue for me personally is that the joints aren't done in two different colours. Why? They could have very easily made one half of the joint black, one half green, so they didn't stand out as much as they do, because from the front, yeah, they are super visible. If you are wondering what he looks like with the sort of plunger-like piece on the tail, though, Android 17 better watch out, because Cell is definitely coming. This piece just pegs onto one of the ball joints, although it is rather heavy. So that means it kind of droops down just a little. You can arrange the joint so the friction keeps it in place, but yeah, it's just a little bit more cumbersome to work with. Could I ever see myself using this in the display? Maybe, if Cell's going to be absorbing Android 17, but for the most part, I reckon I'm just going to have him fighting someone, so no, I reckon I'm not going to use this in my display. His upper torso is very broad, but kinda squat. His arms are really long and lanky, just like they should be. Overall, the proportions are on point. I also like this kind of gross, sinewy detail sculpted in for the blue sections. Are they painted? No, I don't think they are. They look like unpainted blue plastic, but that means no scuffing in the joints, so yeah, that's perfectly fine with me. I also like that they've actually sculpted those lines across the joints. They aren't using those ugly joints like they used to. The green sections are multiple colors of green. It's not just all this dark green. There's some lighter green as well. I realize I've said green way too much. Unfortunately, though, there is a really ugly seam line along his pecs. I don't know why they didn't put the mold point somewhere else, but yeah, it's up front and center. It's really ugly. Also, one shoulder pad on mine springs out constantly. I wish it would sit down and behave like the other side, but oh no, it has a mind of its own. It's going to spring out, and there's not really much that I can do about it. If you know how to fix it, please let me know down below. Now, I'm fairly certain the orange sections are painted. This orange does look a little bit darker than the mouth plate and this codpiece, but overall, from a distance, still looks really good. Then coming down to the legs, multiple shades of emerald. See, I didn't use green. You've got the lighter, you've got the darker. I do like the spots. Once again, you can feel them. They're textural. You've got some more blue behind his knees and down below for his feet. His nails are also really prickly, so do be careful not to spike yourself. Plus, he does even have some detail sculpted in underneath. For a quick side-by-side comparison, we did of course have to kick things off with Piccolo. As you can see, the Namekian is a little bit shorter than Imperfect Cell. Does that bother me? No, I'm pretty sure this is accurate to the show and the books. Imperfect Cell was a tall dude, aided by the fact that he's got the big honkin' spikes on his head. Plus, he's really lanky, so to me, yeah, this looks about right. Now, there is a significant finish difference between the greens. Piccolo is this nice, high-quality matte finish, where Cell, as we discussed earlier, is a little glossy. Next up, here we have Super Saiyan Full Power Goku. Number 1, don't these two just look so darn awesome standing together? But number 2, that height difference that we discussed with Piccolo is exacerbated even further with Goku, because, as we all know, Goku is shorter than Piccolo, therefore, he's even shorter than Imperfect Cell. I know I've been going on how Goku is shorter than Cell and Piccolo is shorter than Cell, but nobody's shorter than Cell and Android 17. This guy is tiny. This is pretty much a match made in heaven. You can recreate the scene where 17 is absorbed into Cell to reach the semi-perfect form. Is that something I'm going to do in my display? I don't know, it's definitely an option, but so far, yeah, I'm really happy with how these two look standing together. Lastly, for either the most or least important comparison, depending on your point of view, it's Perfect Cell. Some people would argue this is an imperfect figure. See what I did there? I'm so sorry, I had to, but he is showing his signs of age. He's an original 1.0 style figure. He came out early on in the line, but this is one of the premium color recolors. I still think he looks really good. Does he look as good as the new mold for First Form or Imperfect Cell? No, I don't think so. But he does work quite well for now. If they do give us a new version, I will of course pick him up. But I'm more interested in the blank spot in the middle. Bandai, please, complete this picture. Semi-Perfect Cell is the one that I personally want y'all to work on next. Going over articulation, do bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. Starting off with the head sculpt, it's on a series of ball joints, one at the base of the head, another at the base of the neck, combined looking forward to there, going back to there, swivel as well as pivot. Now, around the back, the wings are on hinges and swivels, so they move left and right and forward and back. The tail is pegged in on a double ball joint. You also have multiple hinges, 3 in total. The arms will go up to there. The shoulder pads do move out of the way quite nicely. Going forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow that does get you just past 90, then of course a hinge and swivel for the wrist peg. The torso does crunch forward to there, going back to there, and yes, the tail does get in the way just a little. You also get swivel and pivot side to side. The legs do go forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee, once again going just past 90, then of course a hinge and swivel down here for the ankle. Wrapping up on Bandai Tamashii Nation's S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Imperfect Cell. Going into this, I was riding high. How could I not be? As a Cell fan, this is a form I've wanted for years. We finally have him, and long story short, he's pretty good. He's not perfect, there's some seam line ugliness. The joints in the tail, yeah, they're a little funky. I also don't like the plasticky finish, and the lack of the rock. What the hell, Bandai? Where's the rock? Give us the rock going forward, but nevertheless, everything else is stellar. I don't think that's a word I've ever used in a review before, but there's a first time for everything, and for first form Cell, it's pretty fitting. I love the sculpt. I love the proportions, the articulation for such a funky looking guy is really good. He can pull off pretty much everything I was hoping he could. At the end of this review, do I recommend this figure? Oh, absolutely. If you like Cell anywhere near as much as I do, and you've been wanting to fill out your Figuarts Cell Saga display, this guy is it right here. And I'm hoping if enough people support this guy, Bandai will keep the ball rolling. We need semi-perfect Cell as well, and fingers crossed, he's not too far behind. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit the subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.